Hi, my name's Steven and wanted to do a quick demo of Joist's em.find method, which on the entity manager is for finding entities. Basically select star from author or books with various where clauses, where first name is this or last name is that. And yeah, just step through some examples real quick. So the first one is super simple. We're going to make two authors using our factories. First name A and then A and B, and then just do a find. Say we want to do find an author where first name A is A and last name is B, should only find one, and that works great. Pretty simple. We call these inline conditions. These are both doing equality conditions, but we're just kind of declaring an object literal, and everything in here is an and. We'll get to doing ors and complicated nested clauses later, but a lot of times you just kind of want an and that works out pretty well. We'll show the next example. That one was just doing equality, right? First name is A and last name is B. For each of the fields or columns, you can do a handful of operators that are not just equality. If you want equality, you just put the value. But you can also do things, which is the same thing as saying equals. But we have things like not equal and greater than, or equal, or just greater than. All of the common conditions you can do inside of there. We do have a few for arrays as well. We should get our types worked out to where these shouldn't show up unless you're actually an array column. We don't have that yet. But anyway, add whatever condition type things that, for this one column. And then on the next level of complexity is doing joins. So we were just looking at authors, but let's say we want to, this time we're going to set up a book of a title with a title and an author. And now we're going to find books where the title matches, and then we want to join into author with some other conditions. And it's just, that's, we call this an inline condition. You're just kind of typing out an object literal. And you can keep going if you wanted. Let's say authors were part of publishers and you wanted to do some filtering on the publisher or, conditions on the publisher. Again, everything between these two tables is ANDed in this scenario. And then let's look at one more where let's do ORs and other complicated nested conditions, nested ands and ors and that sort of thing. So what that looks like is also an em.find. And what you'll notice is we still have kind of this join literal sort of syntax that we had before, where I want to find a book, and I can join into the author, and what we had before was the first name is A. And you can have, still have title B, and first name A, but you can also do this little as syntax where you say like as A, and if you want, you can just say the author is A, if you want to bind A, so to say. And so what this is doing is letting us keep our little object literal here to declare the joins, which is super succinct, right? Instead of join into table on ID is ID and join into table on ID is an ID. You keep the join literal to declare the tree, you want to do conditions against. But then when you do the conditions, especially for ors and ands that are complex, you want to break out of the tree and do comparisons across tables or across fields. And so at that point, we just have a separate conditions parameter that after you've bound, select star, you can really think of these as your SQL aliases, right? So select star from book, books as B, and join in authors as A. We can write an or condition by just saying like or together, the book title is B, or the author first name is A, and this is just a made up clause, but it can be whatever you wanted. This or clause will be anded together with any of the inline, literals that were still in the query, right? So like, or in the object literal. So if we deleted the title, then for this query, it would just, the only conditions would be the title is B or the first name is A. But if you, a lot of times you do have conditions that you just always want to be true. And so you can leave those in here, and then this extra clause will be added. And yeah, within the OR, this is one level of the OR, but you could arbitrarily next this, like we nest this. So let's, we could say the title is B, or the first name is A, or something else that is an and, and just kind of keep nesting here as you go. And yeah, it gets turned into a SQL query. So that's em.find and building out SQL, select statements. I think we found in practice that, probably 80% of our queries are simply the inline finds where everything ands together. And then, maybe 10 to 20% are the more complex conditions with ors and ands and that sort of thing. Also, we don't right now try to handle anything that's not just finding an entity. So SQL queries like group bys and aggregates and sums and things with common table expressions, those sort of things. We just defer to either write that SQL by hand or use a dedicated SQL builder like Keysly or Knex or something like that. Joist doesn't, currently anyway, doesn't try to get into that game. We focus on just finding entities. And yeah, that's our demo. Thanks.